Alright, so I know it's been a while since I made a video, but it's been a kind of a rough end of the semester. Nothing really out of the ordinary, I guess, happened. I just got through classes. It was kind of, I hate this stupid thing on my eyes. But, so what I thought would be very beneficial right about now, because it's, the topic on my mind, it's the topic on everybody in my class's mind, and it's the topic kind of pressing really near into the future, is, fortunately, the boards. So it's been rough year and a half so far in medical school. First 2 years are awful, but there's light at the end of the tunnel because, in about 6 months I'll be in the clinic rotating, pretending I'm a real doctor, and it's going to be super cool. I'm really excited for it. But, again, the next 6 months are going to be absolute hell, while we kind of try and get through this. So everyone kind of came back from break to start, what have they been doing over break? Who scheduled their test, who hasn't scheduled their test, who's taking, what test, because there's COMLEX for people in the osteopathic school, and then there's the USMLE for people who are in an allopathic school. So, everyone's kind of doing that. Everyone came back and started freaking out, when all their friends were like, well, I went through this many pages of, first aid. I did this, I did that, I've registered for this test, this date, this place, that place. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. And so I freaked out and went to my advisor, and she helped me talk it out. So I'm going to start my series of board review stuff and kind of let y'all know what I'm doing. Personally, I can't speak for everyone, but, here's kind of what, going off of a couple models I read off online, what my advisor had told me and things like that. So, first thing, first aid. Just first of all, let's see. So, I personally decided not to take the USMLE because in 4 years, it's just been approved, the MD-DO matches are going to combine. It's just going to be one big match process, and based on that, I decided to take one test because now all the, everyone just kind of thrown into a big pool, and it's not two separate matches, it's not two separate tests for residencies. And so I knew that I wanted to do I don't know. I know I'm really not very good at standardized testing, so I'm sticking to one test. I'm putting 100% of my effort into it, and if the residency doesn't accept the COMLEX score and they want the USMLE score, I'm not going to apply to it because there's millions and a half other residency opportunities in the United States that I can apply to with the COMLEX. Some MD schools take both of them, some don't. I don't know. So for me personally, I know I don't do very well in testing. Focus everything into one. So with that being said, regardless, the first thing that I did is for boards I got this big ass binder, big butt binder. Sorry for the whatever. My big boards book. It's like a 4-inch binder. It's huge, it's massive, and in it, I have my class notes in the front. But I'll have to blur that out or something. But so the first thing that I recommend everybody do, you have to go out and get first aid. First aid for the USMLE step 1. DO, MD, whatever, are you taking one, are you taking both, doesn't matter, get the book. 90% of whatever you're going to be testing on your boards is in this book. Time and time again, every year, it's reviewed as the #1 review source to have. So get it early, start going through it when you're going through school for the first 2 years. When you're in systems, when you're in your basic sciences, it's all in here. There's hints, there's tricks, there's mnemonics, it's very basic. So it's kind of nice to go along with that because, you can kind of see what you're learning and is it actually board relevant, and, you can kind of help you focus on big picture stuff, more help you focus studying. So get first aid, get it early. I've had it all last semester, so I was using some of their tips and tricks while I was going through classes and, whatnot, so whatever. I got it debound and 3-hole punch so it could fit in a binder, and then, so I can insert pages into the book, when I'm going through practice questions or whatever, when I find a mistake, because apparently there's a whole website dedicated to erratica, I think, because there's a bunch of errors in the book, so you have to go through and you have to sit down, you have to figure out what was wrong, what was right, kind of go from there. But, so I've already, there's already been a couple things from the GI system that I'm in right now that I found were really helpful, so I 3-hole punch those and I put them in, near their corresponding page, so when I, as I'm going through it, if I'm unclear about one thing or another, it all just, somehow I'll figure it out. The other thing that I did is I got Doctors in Training, or DIT. It is a video lecture review series. I really like it. It's super high yield and it's super fast, so and so yeah, I don't know, because for me, I get intimidated by volume. So sitting there and telling me I have to read through 6 books, each being 300 pages, I don't want to do that. Telling me, I have to watch, 5 or 6 videos that are maybe half hour, 45 minutes long. Okay, it's more manageable. I'm not in the freak out mode, and so I'm able to focus. I don't know. So I have DIT. I have first aid. I got our school gave us ComBank, which is a question bank for the COMLEX specifically, and then I got ComQuest on my own, which is another question bank, because I know I can read over something 150,000 times. I could, watch 700 hours of video, but until I start doing questions and until I start, quizzing myself, it's useless. So I know I'm going to need a lot of practice questions and go from there. So those are 3 things I have, 4 things. I have 2 question banks, DIT, and first aid. And with that being said, that's kind of what I'm going to stick to. A lot of people have like 18 different resources. They're using the BRS for this. They're using Board Review Series, BRS for that. They're using DIT for this. They're using Kaplan for that. They're using Falcon for this. And, but they're all, I don't know. I don't like the idea of 7 different review sources, so I'm sticking to 1 or 2 practice questions. And really, ultimately, first aid is going to be your Bible for the next 6 months. Mine for the next 6 months. But, really when it comes down to medical school, that's what you should swear by, because step 1, it's going to get you through it. DOMD, COMLEX, ComBank, COMLEX, USMLE, that's the book to go to. So, I met with my advisor, and she said right now, for the people that are taking their boards right at the end of the semester in May, she'll be putting in right now about 10 to 15 hours of board study on top of, your regular schoolwork. And, it's intimidating, but, it's what you got to do. Personally, for me, we have this gap month that our school incorporates it into between the end of the first semester and the end of your rotation, where you can opt into this board study group. And they require you to be on campus doing board study for 60 hours a week. They run workshops throughout it. They do whatever, practice questions, practice tests. They give us a full-length practice COMLEX exam, so that's great. So I opted into that. So for me, I have roughly about 30 days between the end of my semester and when I'm taking my exam. So my advisor said right now that I may only need to be putting in 5 to 7 hours a week, because GI is an intense system. It's, time consuming. I'm in class a lot. There's not a lot of time for breaks. It's difficult to understand. So 5 to 7 hours a week, with the anticipation that once this is over in February, I'm going to up it, 5, 10, 15 hours again, hop on with the rest of the crowd. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've started doing a doctor's in training video in the morning before class, because they're all within an hour. So I wake up at 6, watch a video, then I get ready for the day, and I'm in school by 8:30, which is fine, and do my day. And then at night, I'm doing a certain amount of practice questions, because I have to do practice questions. For the first little bit, they recommend an 80-20 split, where you're doing 80-20, 80% raw review, 20% questions, and then switch it over to about 50-50. And then ultimately, maybe about 30 days before, a month or 2 before your board, you should be doing 90% questions, 10% hard review. And, really building up your stamina. Can you sit down for 8 hours or 4 hours and book out 200 questions, take a 45-minute break and do it all over again? Because that's what you're going to do on test day. So it's horrifying to think about, but that's down the road. So right now, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm still mapping out my study schedule, but for me, microbiology is the hardest, so I'm starting with that. Watched a video this morning. I'm going to do practice questions tonight. I've put in about 2 hours already for GI, so I still got to do a little bit more review for GI and do some practice questions tonight. Get up early tomorrow, do another micro video, so I can start reviewing, getting everything in my head. And then, so that's pretty much that, in general. So that's where I'm at. It's 9 minutes because it's a complicated thing to talk about. There's a lot to say. It's horrifying, but I guess I'll get through it, and I'll keep you posted with how it goes. Whatever. But, so that's all I have to say right now. As a side note, I don't know if anybody's, in my boat, but, from what I hear, or in my boat, maybe first year or whatever, if you're debating, do I want to take one or both? Yes. You really don't know what you want to do before you look at the residency. If the residency only wants this exam, take this exam. If it'll take both, you can take both, and you can kind of just go from there. Differences between the two, from what we understand, what we've been told, is that the COMLEX and and the OSM are about 86-90% the same, but COMLEX has all the osteopathic manipulative stuff, the OMM, OPP, whatever. Whereas the USMLE does not. So USMLE makes up for that, and they are very biochemistry, genetics, microbiology, or molecular biology oriented. So it's more biochemistry heavy, more pathways, more everything like that, which I'm awful at. So I'm really happy that I've decided just to take one. Where COMLEX is more OPP stuff, but then there's a lot more anatomy. There's a lot more cord levels, and they tend to do a little bit more in that aspect with whole body picture, whatever. So that's about 11 minutes. I don't really know. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I can say. Questions, comments, advice are very welcome. I'll do whatever I can to help and keep you posted along the way with how it's going. It's stressing me out already, but like my advisor said, because I have that extra month, I shouldn't be freaking out as much as my friends who literally can't take a break and are doing 15 practice questions, at lunch, and then they do this at night, and they've been watching 6 hours of online videos, and it's just unnecessary for me at this point. Talk to me in a month, I'm probably going to be right there with them, but I'm not looking forward to it. So yeah, alright, that's enough of my rambling, I'll see you in. Let me know, talk to you later, thanks for watching, hope it helps. Alright.